here's the deal. Tonight is a very special night. Every night is a very special night at Huddle Time with Ronit. But tonight I have my very, very, very good friend, Lindsay Rumpel, who has been a mentor to me. And I mean, I admire her. You're going to hear her story. She's just one of a kind. And let me bring her on first and tell you everything about Lindsay. Hey, Lindsay.
Hello. You're so sweet. That was such a kind introduction.
Well, hold on one second. I haven't really done a lot of that introduction because, I know you're a minimalist and you don't want, but listen, guys, Lindsay is a senior director of business development for Joico. Now that's a big title over there, but she didn't start at that position. With that position goes a wife, a mother, a sister, a daughter, and just an amazing human being that has achieved so much in her life. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how are you maintaining that type of a busy life as we all know it, but have such an amazing balance in your life. And what are the most important things that we need to embrace these days in order to embrace the new decade? So I want to talk about that today. But hello, Lindsay, my buddy.
Hi, Ronit. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. This has been a pretty amazing.
I'm so honored to be here. I know we've been talking about this. I can't believe it's been a year. When you were just talking about this, I remember, Ronit and I always have our texts going about business and making the industry better and our brainstorming sessions. And when you were just like, right when this pandemic happened and you had a response, and it's like, of course you did. You were going to still keep people connected. So first of all, I applaud you. And not just doing it like right in the beginning and then phasing out, because a lot of things have happened that way, right? And you have kept it going. So great job and kudos to you, Ms. Jedi.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, Lindsay, I do appreciate all these kind words. And I know, I think I remember that I called you and I said, listen, I'm thinking about doing this thing. Who do you think I should bring? What do you think the topics would be? And I every time that I get stuck, I call you and I said, like, well, who do you think would be good for this time of the period of time? And, what can I say? There's nothing like having great friends. It's the best in the world. And, there are times when you feel lonely and you have some hard times, and boy, did we go through them. And it's always great to have a true friendship. Now, how many of you guys have handled or had the opportunity to have amazing relationship? And I don't know about you, but I read it on Facebook the other day, something like, I think it was David Wagner. He posted something and it says that one or two true friend is better than 1,000 that are not, that are on the surface. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I said to myself, it's so true. You really do need just a few amazing friends in your life to make you happy.
Oh, no, agreed completely. It goes back to something I've always stood for, and it's always quality over quantity. And if you take that approach in everything you do, from how I could travel and still have food on the table and make sure, my son got to practice and to do all these things and to come home after, being on the road and visiting with salons or whatever it may be. It was never about the quantity. How many nights do I eat dinner with him? Because so many people could eat dinner every night and not even say a word to each other. But if you focus on the quality, then it's truly, that's the focus for sure.
I love that, and just for everybody to know how you started in this industry, because it's even a magical story right there. You have a husband that is in the industry. We share so many great friends that are in the industry.
Yes.
You've been in the industry for a long time, but you didn't start there. So let's tell the story.
Yeah, well, and I'm not about myself, as you know me. This one is, so I appreciate you giving me the platform, but this is truly for everyone out there to have a dream. And I was very fortunate at a young age, a very young age, 13, 14, is I started hair modeling. And it was what I did. I was modeling for Graham Webb. I know many of you guys remember that company. And, you know, I was traveling to all of their trade shows for their events, on many of the photo shoots. I mean, you could ask my family. I've had every color of hair. I've had it super short. I've had it buzzed. I've had the extensions. I've had it all. And, you know, right then and there, here I was traveling to these trade shows, kind of staying on my own. And there was platform artists that kind of took me under their wing, that became my mentors in this beauty industry. Francesca Ravetti, Irene Meikle, immediately would make sure that, you know, I was 14, like traveling alone, and they kept me straight. They gave me such great advice. But from there, what was really funny and ironic is that I would be on stage, I would do our thing. And then, you know, usually everyone would go behind stage model, and I'd be like, can I go out to the sales booth? I'm really interested on like what the customers think. What do they think about the product? What are they saying? Can I just like hear what they're saying? And they would laugh because I'd go right to the sales booth to talk to the stylist and to the salons. And then I would like get there early so that I could start helping them set up booths. And they're like, whoa, not one of the models ever says this. And I'm like, I'm really interested in this business. And so when I went off to college, I knew that I was going to be working in the beauty industry. I knew that I was going to be working for a manufacturer. It was the direction that I wanted to go. But even though I was modeling, the side that it showed me was the sales side of it, the business development side of it, helping a small business make more money, make more revenue so they could put food on their table. And I was really intrigued with working for a manufacturer that might seem big, but then that helps the ordinary small business. And my family had a small business growing up. And so I completely understand, might be another way of why I was into merchandising. And I worked all my weekends and nights at our store growing up. And I think a lot of that just all connected. So I had a vision. I was exposed to it. And I made a plan. So went to school, and all through my university, I still worked with Graham Webb. So I was able to go into the office and work with customer service and with finance and with marketing and with education. And I was exposed to this beautiful industry and so many amazing people. And then I immediately knew then that I was in it and was not going to leave. So I used my networks, I used my connections, kept my head on straight, and said, you know what, I'm going to make a difference in this industry, and I want to do something with it. So I took all my energies and was with some previous companies, and then I've actually been with Joico. Just started out as just right at the bottom level of, you know, here is. I don't even remember what my original title was, but I was just there to call in a couple of states, and it grew from there. And now 15 years later, I'm with the same company. You're muted, Ronit.
Oh, blah, 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 and blah, and blah, and blah.
New. That's what you're always doing.
This is like what's going on right now. And the first time Ronit ever got muted. Whoa.
Exactly.
Okay, so I love what you said, and I want to even go back into what you did. You had a vision. You knew you wanted to be in an environment that spoke to you, and what you did is you tried. You were in a Graham Webb, and you went to the marketing department, and you were in the sales department, and you really tried a lot of the numbers department and everything that you tried that probably made you more salted, more exposed, more, it brought your education even more. And I think that's super, super important to try a lot of venues, to try a lot of positions so you can be more well-rounded. I think we miss that these days. Do you agree?
I do agree. You know, for some reason, you know, I don't know, something started happening where people were like, internships are not cool. or I can't assist someone because I'm not getting paid enough. And if there's something I can tell each and every one of you, we all have something to learn from one another. And whoever you team up with, find your idol or find someone that truly you can say, you know what, I can learn from them. Reach out to them and say, how can I be a part of your growth? And then in turn, you're going to help me grow. And I think, you know, you have to be able to have the ability, you have to have the ambition, and you have to be humble, because if you have a big head, I think it would definitely be hard for someone. But for me, I had this vision of where I wanted to go. And in order to do it, I was going to learn all of these nuggets and put it together.
Yes, I love that. You have to learn the nuggets. It's almost like playing a chess game. You have to have all your soldiers, and then you figure out where you want to play your soldiers, where you're going to lead them. And so you have to have everything on your game. And this is what Frank says a lot. I got all my soldiers on the chess game, and then I'm going to strategize my play and my plan. And I think that's really important. So if we can translate that into the new decade, what's coming up in the future of the salon, the future of this industry, the salon
Right.
of the future, the stylist of the future. What do you think right now by learning? I mean, we went through, I think, 3 recessions together. And we're just coming out of I think, like, recession times 10. And what do you think will be a good advice out there to tell everybody who's starting in this industry?
It's very simple. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you got to be together. And, you know, what is your together? And that's what each of one of you, you know, joining today, you have to find that together. And that's where those connections and network may be. But if you really think about that, you know, you want to go fast, go alone. You can't go fast with a group of people, because some people are skill sets are going to be different than yours. They're going to bring something different to the table. But if you really want to go far, you're going to take the strengths of everyone in that salon. You're going to take the strengths of really whatever you're trying to accomplish. Yeah. And if you do it together, you'll be able to get there.
Yeah. And be patient, everybody. You know, it's something that I know everybody hears a lot. And can you, like you said, if you want to go fast, you go along. If you want to go far, I love that. I just love that. Because here's the thing, Lindsay and I, we've known each other for many, many years. And when we started, we both started in a place. And we both realized that we needed each other very much. And we help each other so much. You know, your company was behind you. Yourself, you saw a vision. You look at what I needed as a consumer. Again, that's the eye of the consumer. And you helped me grow even more to my next level. And by watching you, how you worked with your team and what the achievement that your companies had, it was really, I was watching and I was learning everything. And every person that you brought to the table, Lindsay, is a good friend of mine today. a good friend. And it's an explosion. It's an explosion of love. And I feel like friendships and relationship are so important if they're real. And can we talk about real?
Yeah, it's a big words. You know, real is living in the present, and that's really hard for anyone to do. You know, I think that sometimes I laugh because you're one of the hardest people I had to like sit down with, and I'm like, oh my gosh, here I'm sitting down with Ronit, like. I'm Googling her, finding out all this information. And I'm like, she's going to tear me up alive. And I was like, just listen, like that's all of us know that it can be your greatest strength and your greatest weakness is listening. And I was like, I'm just going to listen. I'm going to listen and take a lot of notes. And, you know, when I really look at, I mean, you were like, I mean, for me to even like land your account as the salon, but I will never forget having that time with you and time after time, because I learned something every time. You brought value. And, you know, it was about providing if it's a solution, it's providing, you know, revenue to your staff. We would find a solution together. And that's really what it comes down to. It's not about a manufacturer just dictating the one way. It's not a one-way street. And when you truly look at it together, understanding each other's needs. So in any relationship and any connections and networking, and when you have your team, you have to understand their needs,
Yeah.
and listen to their needs and make sure you respond within those needs. And I think that that's really important about building a team. I like to focus on, you know, a light up list. What lights you up? I mean, people use the word spark joy, what brings you joy, whatever it may be, but what's your light up list? But each of you on here, you know, with your salon or with your teammates or whoever, you know, you're working close with, what's their light up list? Because I think that's just, there's one piece of knowing your own, but it's about also knowing the people that you're connected with.
It's very powerful. And I want to even emphasize the sentence, and Christy just joined and Monty just joined. It's just a whole awesome group here. And I just want to say, she's, you know, repeat what you say, real is living in the present. And sometimes it takes a long time to get to that place where you really truly want to be in the present. You know, you want to be in the presence of your clients. You want to be in the present of your staff. You want to be in the present of your team. You want to be in the present of your family. And it's very difficult to find that balance without feeling guilty. You know, especially we are women, we have children, we're wives, we're mothers. You know, we are in that age where our parents are getting older, our children are getting older, we're needed. But at the same time, we all know the importance of self-care. We all know the importance of self-love. And we all know that as a strong leader, whether you're leading a salon, whether you're leading in a brand, a position, you need to restore and you need to give yourself a lot of time, right?
Absolutely. And that takes time too. Listen, I have had my mistakes. You learn from them. I also look back in my early 30s, you know, when I had my son, and I thought I had to just get right back to work because my position was going to be gone or something wasn't going to be there. It was never pressured. It was just like, it's how I felt.
Right.
That I had to show everyone that I could be a mother and still, you know, carry on my position. But I really must have just had to, I look in the mirror every day. So I guess I needed to show myself that, because at the end of the day, there's 86,400 seconds in a day.
Yes.
And each and every one of you, if we cannot start with 60 seconds, 60 of the 86,000 in a day for self-care, schedule an appointment with yourself of just 1 minute and do 1 minute for 1 week, and then go the second week, add 2 minutes. So then by after 30 days, you've created a habit, and then you're actually spending 5 minutes a day with yourself. And that's how it starts. That's how you're going to live in the present, taking care of yourself first, but you have to make the efforts. And we're all creatures of writing things down. We can say, put things in the universe, but unless it's written down, or if we all live by that calendar in our phone. So it's a great way just to schedule an appointment with yourself for 1 minute for every day for the next 7 days.
Yeah, and that's powerful, you know, if you can just carve and you know, you're talking about those seconds and the minutes. You know, we had an exercise the other day in our company, you know, and we said, okay, how many hours are actually in a week? And for everybody here, if you guys want to go through the exercise right now, please, you can even put in the chat, do it with us. How many hours do you have in a week? And there's 156 hours in a week, right? And out of the 156 hours, if you could sleep the hours that you want, how many hours do you guys want to sleep? So write down, how many hours do you want to sleep in a day? 7 hours. They say that you shouldn't be sleeping less than 7 hours, right? Lindsay, how many
Right.
hours do you sleep at night?
I'm 7 hours. I used to not be, but I've learned. I'm more productive.
Absolutely. I used to be proud of myself that I don't need to sleep more than 5 hours. I can be up all night.
Right.
I designed a website at 12 a.m. I wouldn't go to sleep before 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, I would do things. So what if you could have 8 hours of sleep? Just 8 hours. And then what if you told yourself, I do not want to work more than 8 hours a day? What if? So that's 16 hours out of 24 that you're already putting aside.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do with the other hours? What do you do with the other hours? Because there's more hours there, a lot more hours. How do you spend your time?
Right.
And that's so important to find out, you know, what do you spend your time and what's the important things? What is the most important thing that you can do with your time that is going to bring you the best results to get you to what you want? So what is the ultimate want, Lindsay, for you? Like, what is your dream? What is your dream week? What is your dream month? What is your dream year?
It goes back to, it goes back to quality. I mean, for me, it's not about putting the X amount. It's about if I get 5 minutes a day, I mean, my son is growing up now, so getting 5 minutes to have a conversation about not, oh, how was your day? No, what was the best part of your day? What did you learn today? Really, really making sure that our conversations are meaningful. So
Yes.
having a meaningful conversation with my son, and then most importantly, my husband and I have scheduled times together. People might think we're crazy, but yeah, we had to live together through this COVID 24/7. I've never done that. I didn't sign up for that. And guess what? I have loved every single minute of it.
Wow.
And I've learned so much each and every day because now we're actually setting quality time to be together and not in passing of who's going to take Apollo here, who's going to grocery shop, who's cooking on this day. It's we sit down and we have that moment, and we do that first thing in the morning. Early morning is a great time for us, but it could be evenings for people after kids go to bed. And pick that time. What are those minutes? Maybe that's what you need, because sometimes you're like, well, I don't have any. Then just start with 5 minutes, start with 10. We've built up to almost like 30 minutes. And then now on the weekends, you're like hours of walking the dog. And I'm like, how do we still have something to talk about?
I love that you bring that up. You know, it's so important to have a very planned and very thoughtful schedule. And I want to talk about that. I've always admired the way you ran things. You were flying a lot on your job. Your position requires a lot of flying and traveling for a week, for 5 days. And so is Rocky. And then you have your son who's got to go to school. So how did you manage this whole schedule? What were your resources, or how did you outsource? How did you manage all of that? Because it's different. It's like, what did you do in order to create love and keep the momentum going and keep the good relationship going?
Well, I mean, we couldn't, and we still can't do it without, I mean, my mother is very active. It doesn't matter where we live. People know we've traveled or we've moved different places for my husband's position or whatever. And it hasn't mattered because my mom has always flown to me. My mom has met me in airports when I'm changing planes to, I say, pass the kid off. But having her, number one, and then number two, my husband and I would sit down, 4 weeks in advance and look at the schedule and say, okay, you're landing. We would be passing through the airport, and we would do that sometimes and have coffee in the airport. But I will say that we made sure that someone was home with Apollo at night. So if I was on the road 5 days, then my husband was home, and then we would switch off or whatever it may be. So planning is everything in life, and we live off plans. I know I should do more things without an agenda, but I'm happier when I have an agenda. And we live off the family calendar. As soon as I put something in my phone, it goes to Apollo's phone and it goes to Rocky's phone.
Now,
and
what do you do with planning agenda? What kind of agenda do you play? Do you have an app? Are you using Google Calendar? What's the best way to plan an agenda? And how do you reverse engineer it to the day? What do you do?
Yeah, so we are just a Google Calendar right now. Everything is digital. Prior to, we did do a lot of, I would show you, but it's actually empty, which is really funny. But I have a huge, big calendar that you're able to fill in, you know, each day and what's going on. And we would hang it up and we would live by it. And Apollo would like check it off, knowing that, okay, he really did it to count down the days till mommy was coming back home. But you know, when you reverse engineering it, it's just about having a plan. So I'm also like, I journal. I write on everything. It also drives my husband crazy because there's little sheets of paper I put sticky notes on my mirror. If I'm waking up and I want to have a better day today, what do I want to do more of? I put it on a sticky note and I put it on the mirror. Like I doodle. And so just writing things out, but how do you hold accountability is it has to go in my phone. It goes right here.
Yeah, it has to. It has to. You know, that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate. And I love that you're saying, you know, I would love to have more less agenda days, but you do. You do have less agenda days. I mean, you know, the other day we were talking together and we were planning, you know, we just did beauty brunch together. And every moment that we did beauty brunch, right, together, it was planned out. And, you know, and we had a time. We did leave some room for spontaneous moments, which is always fun. But you do need to structure your day. You do need to know exactly how many hours are you going to be working. What your meal planning? Can you meal plan? I mean, right now we've talked about meal plans, how helpful it is to have a meal plan. For example, I have a subscription to Trifecta or to Factor. I get 6 meals a day, and I use them for my lunch, so I don't skip lunches. So I don't skip food. I think that's something I never had when I was working as a hairdresser or when I was working as a stylist. I think it's amazing if you can maybe even have a powerful benefit for your employees to order meal plan. And it could be something like $100 a week to have 10 lunches. You know, I think it's amazing. And that's what I'm doing. So pre-planning is key for everything. Lindsay, I've always looked at how you were working with your team. And I have never seen somebody who kept relationship for your peers and relationship with your team as much as you did. What is the magic of developing a great team? Whether you have Gen Zs, millennials, or Gen, you know, X, what is the magic for that? What does it take? You've been in your position for a long time. You've seen it all.
Yeah, well, I think that it's just like in anything you do. I mean, for people on there, if you've got fellow stylists, to your salon, to, you know, running a company or whatever it may be, I think it really comes back to something I learned at a very, very young age. And it's the B factor, in the sense of anything: be authentic, be honest, be truthful, be a good listener. What do you put B in front of? Be honorable, you know, be valued. You know, the power of be, but most importantly is be authentic. And when you can listen, and it's not about responding, but it's about, you know, being empathetic and showing them that you do care. There's one thing I've always said is I wouldn't ask something of someone I wouldn't do myself. And I think that if you treat that in everything that you do, you know, it's not about, everyone's an even playing field. And I do think that the workforce now, it's, you know, the old school way was just all about like going up the ladder. And now it's about being horizontal, and it's about having cross functionality, and it's about, you know, this person working, the front desk has got to work with the stylist, to the shampoo girl, you know, whatever it may be from the salon, versus this is her position and she stays in her lane. We don't stay in our lanes anymore, and allow people to break open that lane. But being authentic, And it doesn't come easy. These B words, you really have to take the emotion side of it. And, I challenge myself every day to be even better. I want to be better today than I was yesterday. And, I think that if everyone can take that away of what does that B word mean for them, and each of you guys can write, in the chat right now, what is your word? Is it be authentic? Is it be simple? Whatever it may be, really look at that and you take it to heart.
And it's so true. Again, be present. It keeps coming to me.
Be real. Goes back to what you just said. Just be real.
Be present. Now, what happens and I'd love to share that with our viewers, because I know a lot of people are going through some struggles right now of building a team from the ground up. Again, here we are. We're in the new beginnings. We have the opportunity to rebuild teams. We have the opportunity to re-engage the teams. We have the opportunity to do something different. What do you think when you look out there? What do you think really good habits to build a good team? And I've known you for a long time, and I know you've seen many salons. What salons do you feel that are really having the games of having a really good partners almost? Because that's how I feel about my team right now. I feel like we're all partners in this together.
Yeah, it comes down to communication. I mean, everyone that has their huddles, has their team meetings, that has a group chats on text or whatever it may be, checking in is more important than you'll ever know. And so if that is with, your team, or if you guys are in a loft situation and it's being truly your neighbors, that checking in is everything. And that's communicating. And how you communicate is really what makes a difference. And that's how it's going to make a difference, going forward. I actually started a new app that I was exposed to, being Women's History Month and everything, and it's called Shine, and it's by a female, and it's a meditation app. So I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. The meditation today was really fantastic, but it was a story, and it was about repotting. And about repotting is that we've all been doing the things through pandemic the last 12 months. We've been connecting through people through through social media. There's so much digital education, all these classes, and we're Zooming and we're Teams and doing all of this. And it was like, take a step back and you need to repot. So it's not saying stop your Zoom, but maybe what you're doing on Zoom should be different.
Absolutely.
And how do we do that? It's actually having a real conversation with your stylist. What lights them up? So maybe you take up one of their light up items. Maybe it's cooking. Maybe it's arts. Maybe it's them, sitting on a beach, that you could recreate a beach scene, while having a Zoom call or whatever it may be. But taking their light up list and finding another way to connect is truly how we're going to keep moving forward.
I love that. And just bring me that idea that, here we are, we're spending hours of squeezing clients in, trying to get that one more sale, selling another hour, selling another minute, and all of that. But what if we took 3 hours in a day and we didn't sell it, but we invested in our team? No matter what it is, just take 3 hours and do something very special in the first hour of the morning, something very special in the second hour of the middle day, or something very special in pretty much in the evening time. What if you reinvested time in your team doing something just special like this? And of course, it doesn't have to be every day, but it could be twice a week, 3 times a week. Instead of selling those hours, if you took that money that you're supposed to make in those 3 hours and reinvested in your team and connection, would that go slower and stronger? I think so. It won't be faster and alone, right? That's kind of like the whole goal.
No, and absolutely. I like to relate it to, when you're having a really crappy day, because it happens, guys. Like this is a real conversation. you know, and then you get that text from your friend that's like, hey, I'm thinking of you. And you're like, oh my gosh, how did you know? Like you're connecting with me at this moment just made me forget about how bad my day was. And that moment of how you feel when someone just can change the emotion around you. Imagine if you did that with your team. It just takes one little small thing. It's not about a monetary thing, about putting money to it, or whatever else. It's truly just finding that one thing that could spark them. Or it's just also reaching out, guys. I mean, how many of you have just reached out to 2 people today to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. I hope you have a great day. One of your fellow stylists, it's something that simple. And having these touch bases or connections with people to hold each other accountable of just checking in is more important, especially during this fair and mental health. And just to be able to be there is powerful.
It's so true. The mental love that we can be supportive right now, it's more important than anything right now. And I love what you're saying, just the touch points that you can deliver every day. So, just to even say to somebody, I was listening to you. I appreciate you. It reminds me the 5 languages of love. I don't know if you ever read that, but you guys can all take the quiz and see which persona you are. How do you communicate to your husband? How do you communicate to your family? And how do you communicate to your work friends? And see how everybody is different. Some people need different type of love. And so how can you work with the 5 languages of love? Have you ever read that book?
I have. No, it just brought back so many memories because we do. And if my mom to my husband to my child people would all respond differently because it is all a different language, for sure. But, at the end of the day, our industry is so powerful. And a lot of times it just can get lost on, oh, it's just my stylist. I'm just going to my stylist. And I love when my friends say that, oh, I'm just going to get my hair done by my stylist. I'm like, your stylist? Tell me about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just love it so much. And I just want to keep building people up and just know that networking and connections is more than ever. But we all play a part in it. We all do. And so from, as you mentioned earlier, of, visiting salons, it feels so great when I can just reach out to say, hey, I'm not calling for anything, just checking in, just thinking about you. And it goes a long way.
Okay. I love that we talked about mindset. I love that we talked about having an agenda, have a plan. So for anybody who's listening to us, Lindsay and I have been friends for a long time, and we've been starting our relationship through having a common values and common vision. We've done a lot of things together. We raised money together. We had many events together. We had a lot of education together. And so we have walked on many paths together. But, at the end of the day, a lot of things are so important in values. The one value that we have not talked about is wealth. What does wealth mean to you?
I knew you were going to ask me this because wealth is value, and your value is, you can't talk, for me, it's you live your life. My value is what people see me do every single day. And I truly wake up every single morning and want to be the best person that I can be to my coworkers, to, being a mother, a wife. And I love it when people call me out, like, you're being rude, or you don't talk to me that way, or breathe, think this through. But a value is your actions it's every single day. It's not about me to talk about them. It's for people for them to truly just witness my life.
I get that. But here we go again. Like Monty says, pay my bills. Wealth is pay my bills. Wealth and is something that you cannot do life without wealth. It's just we are talking about financial wealth. So how do you combine, and how do you create the balance, and how do you multiply your wealth? What advice can you give all the audience and the viewers about how to create that? I guess I would say the path of having the three things together and balance them together: mindset, wealth, and freedom.
Yeah, well, I think that it goes back to your list that you create. So you have to be able to take care of the present. You got to be able to take care of that short term, what you want to do within 2 years. And then you have to look at your long term. I don't want to work forever. No one does. And you want to be able to enjoy life. So yeah, I've got to take care of that future from, the retirement. And there's so many things out there to help you be able to do that. But you just have to be real with yourself. You have got to create a budget on everything that you're doing. And you have to say, this is what I have to spend to put food on the table, to pay my bills. And then this is all I have for extra fun money. So if that means that I have to wait another 2 weeks to get my nails done, then that's what you have to do. I don't know why people started shaming on these things either.
I love that. Yes.
And then you've also got to prepare for your future. You control yourself. So if you want to look at it as present, short-term, long-term, that's the 3 buckets that I do. We also do envelopes for our son, so that things that he can spend now, what he has to save, and then what he has to give.
Oh, wow.
And so there is 3. He's got his 3 envelopes that, he chooses from. And it's not about what you also do, but right, I'm responsible for the way that he loves, the way that he sees people, the way his love language is as well, and also teaching him about wealth and what that looks like. So the giving part is really big as we have fundraised together, but also it's really important in our family.
Oh, I think that's amazing. So you have the envelope system, what you can spend now, what you can spend in the future, and what you can give back. I love that. That is just so powerful. It's such a great system. I think it's amazing because you're just teaching so much and just 3 envelopes.
Yeah, and it's basic. It's so basic. It's not rocket science. People think it's really basic. And that's what I loved about the beauty brunch and us even talking about financials, because they are important. We all have to make a living, and they're very lucky. They got someone sitting in their chair. But if you're not charging your worth, then you got to change that. You have to change it immediately.
Yeah, and it's true. You guys all have to think about, if you really don't want to work 80 days a week, you want to work 30 hours so you can see your face, your family. So 40 hours so you can see your family. You want to go on vacation. You want to do things. Why not start right any by reverse engineer and budget and use the envelope system. I don't think there's any greater simple stupid system.
It's basic.
The envelope, right? It's just amazing. So
but they could even do that with their tips. They could truly be doing that in the day of all the tips, separating them out. I think the beauty brunch, if I remember right, it was $1 a day, so it's there, $30 a month, what it could actually do, just pulling from your tips and putting in that envelope for your future savings. So whatever it may be, keep it simple, keep it real, and be in the present. And you've got to have a plan in your life. And people think that when you have a plan, it's not happy. And that's when we jump into freedom, that is not true. Because when you have a plan, it's what also creates that freedom.
Absolutely. We keep saying it's Salon Cadence. Freedom is systems. Freedom is plan. That is what's going to give you the freedom. But you have to know exactly what you want. And so for any stylist, if you know exactly how much money you want to earn in 1 year, you have to know what you're going to do with that money. What is it going to actually give you that money? We all need to think really strong about, then reverse engineer it of how are you actually going to create that wealth in your home so you can be happy, so you can feel achievement. And I think that what you said is right on the money. Okay, you be real, you have a plan, and you plan, and you just go for it, and you put the money aside for it, and you save it, and because you have a vision, you have a plan. I think that's just brilliant. Lindsay, what is the last couple words you want to tell all of us about mindset, wealth, love, or anything at all?
I think that, all of you guys out there, you got to take care of yourselves first. And before you can, before that's where the mindset comes in, and having routine or having ritual, it doesn't take a lot. So, creating this plan then helps you get to, the wealth that's needed, but you measure your success by freedom. And how are you going to measure your success? And I think that, whatever goals you have, I just encourage you guys to make sure you also celebrate those milestones, because I have goals that I haven't reached yet, but I hit some like short-term things that are going to get me there. And you have to celebrate those, because that's what keeps you going. That's that motivation. We talk about, I love to be motivated, and I love to motivate others. That's why I'm obsessed with going with my Orange Theory. As you know, it's my obsession, because they're in my face all the time motivating me. But at the same time, that motivation is what's going to keep you thriving in the most amazing industry out there. And you can't forget that. So with that, having the right mindset, you guys can always reach out to me. I hope all of you guys do know that. I'm here just to support people, and I'm a people person, and I love just to share love and see how, make more connections and network.
Yeah, and it's true, Lindsay. You've been there for this industry for a very long time, and you all heard Lindsay. It really is about balancing. It doesn't all start with like, oh, I know what I'm going to do in 15 years. It's going to evolve. Having friendship around you, connecting with the people, uplift others by uplift yourself. Have a plan. Try things out. Don't worry in the beginning when you start about how much you're getting paid. Learn all the skills that you need to learn. The money will come if you have a plan. But plan right from the beginning to have freedom, because you can. And I think that's important. And you work hard to get there, right? You do.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You have to put work into anything that you do, but you can control that destiny. And the person you wake up with today, I go by the slogan of, what do you want to do more of today and less of? And if you're in that salon environment, maybe it's less of bitching and complaining and throwing all the negativity, and more virtual hugs, more of reaching out to people and giving connections. But, that could be your 1 minute a day that you spend on yourself as self-care. What can you do more of today? And what can you do less of? You might want to write it down, but it would take you less than 1 minute to really think about that. And that's your first step of taking care of yourself.
Love it. These are strong, powerful, real moments, guys. What can you do more that makes you happy, and less the things that don't make you happy? If you're bitching and complaining right from the beginning, that just doesn't create happiness, not even with you, right? So you just stop doing it because you made a choice, and now you're really happy because you're not doing it. So it's almost like, you're changing your belief system, you're changing your thinking, which makes changing your action. And it's so true. Lindsay, you look beautiful today. I love your hair.
It's getting dark now, so I'm like, oh man, my light. I have beautiful natural light. I'm loving the nighttime, because then I can take my dog on a walk. But the mornings, I don't like the darkness in the morning. It's hard.
It is. But we have a long daylight, which is great. It's beautiful here in Sarasota.
So jealous. Hey, Atlanta it was a beautiful day in Atlanta as well. So
that's awesome. I'm going to be there in exactly 2 weeks. So I'm excited.
Maybe we can meet for coffee on the street on the corner.
You know it.
I'll be here.
All right, guys. Well, listen, for everybody who tuned in today, we had my really good friend, Lindsay Rumpel, who shared with us so many great tips of how to use the power of learning, the power of relationship, the power of your mind, to create wealth in your life in every area and have a really balance. Now, we are not the expert of anything, that's for sure. We are the best students of the world. And join us next week to become even more student, to learn more. We're going to have an amazing guest next week. Her name is Anna Walsh, and she is a Salon Cadence member. She won Salon 200 a few times, and she is one of those top 5% most successful salon, and she will share many, many great tips for everybody. Lindsay, can we have a selfie?
I know. I'm like, I just need to get you really quickly.
Let's do it.
No, I can't thank you enough for doing this. Truly, it's pretty amazing, and I'm glad that you said it best. Is that we're not an expert; we're just here to share and learn. And I keep learning every single day, and that's what motivates me. There's so much to learn, so much to learn. So please keep sharing with me as well. And I truly appreciate our friendship.
Oh, I love you.
I value so much.
Same here. So you see, guys, at the end of the day, it's about how happy people make you and how much can you make people happy. So, all right, guys, you guys have an amazing week. It's just the beginning of the week. It's Monday. So you can make a choice tomorrow how is your day is going to be and how tonight is going to be. Thank you, Lindsay. You're the best thing. I love you.
Thank you so much. Love you too. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Cheers.
you, guys. Don't hang up. Hold on.